Fancy a brew?
Okay, so the team at the Ministry of Defence have given us a selection of questions and topics to discuss. My name's Henry, and I'm a Lance Sergeant out on the tour.
Hi, my name's Andy. I'm a guardsman in the Scots Guards out here on tour.
I'm Lance Sergeant Phillips. I'm a team leader over here on the tour.
I'm Chris. I'm a Lance Corporal out on the tour.
And my brew of choice is coffee.
My brew of choice is green tea.
Yeah, I like macchiatos.
I like a tea, milk, no sugar.
And at the moment, all of us are out in Kosovo, which, for anyone not aware, is in the middle of the Balkans. For most of us, we arrived in sort of spring, and Kosovo at that time, we'd been told to prepare very much for a summer tour, drawn out a lot of warm weather kit. Yet when we arrived, it was, if I remember, a sort of couple of feet of snow. So that was a bit of a shock to the system.
Soon warmed up though, got up to mid-30s, nearly 40 degrees. So we've seen all the seasons since we've been out here.
Andy, I think you arrived later on. What was your experience of it?
I arrived towards the end of June, start of July. And it took me a couple of weeks to actually adjust to the heat. So, it's not great really coming from the UK straight into that kind of heat. That kind of temperature. So, yeah.
One of the interesting things about the camp we're on is it's a multinational camp. So you've got the experience of working alongside lots of different nationalities across Europe and from other parts of the world. It's a bit of a cultural shock initially, especially when you are sort of walking through the camp and you hear Mediterranean accents at one point, then Eastern Europeans at another. But everyone gets along quite well, I feel.
Yep.
Particularly other nations in the camp organise quite a few different events. And our canteen every Saturday night will do a different theme in regards to food. So not necessarily of the nations that are here. So you might have Italian food one Saturday and then Hungarian food another. But it keeps things varied. How have you guys found working with any of the other nations?
It's a bit confusing who to pop a salute to when you're walking around camp. But yeah, they've all been very friendly and good to work with them.
Yeah, it was just like the other week when we were playing volleyball with the Austrians. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, that was good actually. I think it was a tournament organised and lots of different nationalities got involved. Although seeing everyone try and converse in English when it's not their first language gets quite interesting when there's disputes over whether the ball's in or out in volleyball. And particularly for football tournaments as well, they can get a bit spicy. Particularly when people are sledging each other in different languages, everyone gets a bit suspicious. But it's fun. There's a good nature around the camp. Any experiences you've had, Andy, with other nationalities?
I've only really had a slight incident with one of them, and that was a Polish guy sleepwalking and ripping my door off in the middle of the night. So that was interesting.
But he came to give you a hand to put it back on.
Yeah, I got an apology and that kind of thing, so yeah, it's absolutely fine. I've had some sort of interaction with them, I suppose.
What was your first thoughts when you took the door off?
Oh, I was horrified. 2 in the morning, I've just rolled over to see a big shadow at my door. Yeah, I don't know how most people would react to that. I just kind of just let it happen, to be honest. I didn't know what was going on. Didn't really want to get out of bed, to be honest.
I think he should have brought you a present afterwards. So sorry.
Nah, it was just nice enough not to have anyone rip my door off again, to be honest.
One of the things that's interesting being in a multinational camp is it gives you a feeling for these future regional hubs for engagement that the Army's trying to set up, and the kind of cultural awareness that you have to have when you're working in not just a foreign country, but in a camp full of foreign nationalities. one of the things that I think these hubs might lead to is potentially lots more deployments for people, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, something to look forward to.
And especially in terms of if people are going to be based at these camps on a more regular basis, then some people get the benefit of being subject matter experts of those particular regions or countries. Anywhere particularly you guys would like to go?
Probably Belize or somewhere in Africa, if that's where they're going to be setting one up. Personally, those are the two I'd like to do.
Somewhere maybe Africa would be good. I've not really thought too much about that, but I would like to do another tour at some point.
Particularly if there's a chance that these regional hubs, there's the opportunity for longer deployments. For some of the younger guys, it's a really good experience to get a lot of operational experience under their belt at quite an early stage. So it's an exciting idea. It means that the army can specialise in different regions, which is good. As we've mentioned before, there's quite a few sports competitions that have been arranged by other nationalities, and even by us. We had a Highland Games, being a Scottish regiment out here. What was your involvement in that, Charlie?
I took charge of the tug of war, which was really good to see. So all of the nations, obviously, the tug of war was like the main event, so it was good to see it. But yeah, the Polish absolutely dominated it. The Polish out here are all massive. They're like gym monkeys. So yeah.
There's a couple of different Polish units who make up different roles out in Kosovo, but they seem to have a particular love of powerlifting and bodybuilding. So that was their speciality.
They also like loaded marches, so they put on a competition, an 11k loaded march outside of camp. So that was really good, split down into teams of 4, and the Great Britain representation managed to win that tournament.
Yeah, it was a very, very proud moment for us when the podium at the end had 2 Polish teams in 3rd place and 2nd place, and the British team got called up for the 1st place position, held the trophy high, and there were some dirty looks from some of the Polish, all in good jest, I'm sure. What's your favourite sports competition you've been involved in?
I don't think personally I've been involved in these since I've been here, actually. Probably just hiding away on a weekend. But no, I'm looking. Hopefully, the Danish are actually putting on a Dancon again at some point at the end of September. So I'm going to hopefully start training towards that and hopefully complete it in quite a good time.
Nice. What kind of distance and what does that involve?
What was the distance last time? Because I wasn't aware. Is it 30k?
30k.
30k, and I'd like to do it in under about 4 hours.
Oof. How's training going?
I don't know. I'm feeling pretty confident about it actually. Since I've been out here, I've had a lot of time to go to the gym and that, and I feel like my fitness is at a good place. So I reckon I could quite possibly a bit more training actually achieve that. So.
Okay, well, it's on record now, so
yeah.
Stick to that time.
Now the temperature's going down, I'm sure you could probably get that time. But when we done it, the temperature was like really high, so we struggled to get a good time.
Yeah.
I think myself, I got 5 hours 30 minutes, and I spent an hour of that hiding in the shade from the sun. So yeah, it was tough.
I mean, we had a sort of good kit check before that because the temperatures were about mid to high 30s. So everyone checked they had plenty of water, food, things like that, sunscreen. But going past some of the other nations who were sort of lying in the shade at the side of the road, you realise how much you value those tabs that help you train for an event like that. I'm not sure the Italians do tabbing on a regular enough basis. Either that, or they were just enjoying the shade a little bit too much. But you were on R&R during that time.
I was, yeah, sunning myself on the beach. So be up for the next one.
But back in the Highland Games, I had the pleasure of running the caber toss stand, and again seeing some of these Polish and Hungarian beasts throw a caber. It was ridiculous. don't think I've ever seen anyone who's never thrown it before do it that impressively. And then obviously very important part here is the food. Generally there's a sort of canteen that's open for set windows where you can go and there's lots of food options, and then more of a sort of restaurant type place on camp. Andy, you're quite a food connoisseur. What's your favourite food location on camp?
I don't know, I started off eating quite a lot in the bistro, and then because of the set menu, you tend to like, well, I did anyway, I started to go towards the DFAC a bit more because there's always something a bit different on every day. And the ice cream's a lot better in the DFAC.
Yeah, the nature of the rollout here means you're not sure when you'll be around for food time, so the 2 food options means that everyone can get fed quite well. But the salads in the canteen are certainly much better. Right, you Charlie?
Nice.
Chris' favourite place?
Say good variety as well in the canteen. And you know, it's there. The food's there. It's cooked for you. You don't have to cook it yourself like at home. So that's a little luxury of being on tour.
The other good thing about the role is the opportunity to be out on the ground and eating Kosovan food as well. Any top food items you can recommend locally?
I mean, at the start of every meal out here, when you're out on the ground, they always seem to serve bread, and the bread out here is just way much better than back home. So yeah, I got to say the bread's phenomenal out here. I don't know how they cook it. I need to get a recipe.
The borek is very good as well. So that's like a cheese pie with like puff pastry on the top. That's really good. Something I'll be looking to cook once I get home.
Yeah, the food's a really interesting mix because of the history of Kosovo. The sort of long Ottoman occupation means that there's a lot of Turkish influence in the food, a lot of good kebabs.
Baklavas.
Yeah, of course.
Those are favourite of mine.
Yeah.
A lot of good mixed grills and kebabs and things like that. But then obviously the kind of Yugoslav influence means you've got a lot of sort of heavy stews and nice sort of Eastern European type food as well. Any places on the ground that, or any types of food on the ground you enjoy from Kosovo?
Can't really think.
I'd say
I just eat everything, to be quite honest with you.
that's the best way to do it, I think.
Oh, we haven't mentioned the Skanderberg. So the Skanderberg.
I haven't tried one yet.
Okay, so think like a battered sausage with a layer of cheese through the middle. That's a pretty good meal. Pretty safe bet wherever you are out on the ground.
Yeah, it's like a sort of Balkan take on a cordon bleu. It's a very very interesting looking dish when it first arrives, as it tends to be covered in a sort of a nice creamy white sauce. But it's certainly very tasty, and you need to make sure that after you've had one of those for lunch, you're doing a lot of fizz to burn off the batter and the meat. But really good variety. In terms of who's got the best job, I think that's quite a contentious one. There's a lot of really good roles out here. Personally, I'd say being second in command is probably the best job.
Yeah, it's certainly probably the most easiest job. One of the easier jobs to do. I'd say it's got to be team leads, because obviously you're going into all the meets. I think you're more aware than most of the people you're around, so you're more aware of what's going on, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, so second in command of a team, I think you've got the benefit of being on the ground the whole time. You're also being able to run a team. It's a really good opportunity for people who are perhaps at the Lance Corporal stage, looking to move up to Lance Sergeant. Having the ability for them to kind of do a set of orders on the ground before going out. So there's a lot of good development opportunities in the teams out here. Andy, coolest job for you?
I don't know about the coolest job, but I have enjoyed being out here as a driver, because as someone that hasn't really driven much in the UK, for me to come out here and be given the opportunity to actually do something that I haven't had much experience with and actually find my feet in while I'm out here, it's been a really good experience for me.
Oh, that's good. And obviously, the most interesting part of first arriving out here is how have you found the locals driving?
So I didn't really think I could judge them that much because obviously I haven't driven much when I got out here, but now I usually make a couple of comments when I'm out on the roads that I won't mention here, but yeah, they're quite interesting. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, driving from locals in Kosovo is more a series of guidelines than firm rules. There's a very interesting approach to roundabouts where as long as you can get onto the roundabout, then you've pretty much got right of way anywhere else you want to be. Any interesting driving experiences from you, Charlie?
No.
Or, I mean, we're very lucky as a task force, considering the quality of driving around. We've been very careful with our approach. I think there's quite a good structure in terms of you know at the start of the week what your week is looking like in terms of where you're going to be and what you've got lined up. So you can plan your downtime quite well. There's a really good opportunity to do a lot of fitness out here and train for a lot of the sports events that come up with other nations. Personally, I always try and get a good gym session when I come back from being out, have a bit of dinner, and then get out and do some spinning on some of the bikes we've got in the gym in the evening. So with the kind of food we've got in the canteen and the fitness equipment we've got, it's really kind of easy to keep yourself in good shape. What do you like doing in your downtime, Charlie?
Similar to yourself, I'm going to the gym like 6 times a week. We've also got good facilities. There's pool table, poker table, darts if you're into that. There's also a guitar. I play a little bit myself, so strum on that now and then. Yeah, there's lots of things to do. You can sunbathe. You can do a lot with your time. I'm fortunate enough to have a TV in my room, so I watch a lot of TV. There's also TV with all the channels, all the sports, and the Princess of Wales. So yeah, there's a lot you can do.
Yeah, we've got a good compound with kind of a lot of good welfare facilities.
Yeah.
Other than that, when we're not out on the ground, good amount of sort of company-led PT as well. So it means that there's a really good bonding session, if you can call it, each weekend where we have a pretty grueling PT session, which recently has been led by yourself, Chris.
Yeah, it's hard to get that balance of something that everyone finds fun, but yeah, we always find something to do.
Yeah, it's always cardio based on a Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your most recent Saturday's workout was pretty tasty. Can you give us a little insight into that?
Yeah, so what did we do on Saturday? So it was body armour on and a lap around the camp as a warm-up. And then we got to a flat part of the camp and did a 20-minute circuit. And then body armour back on and a final lap around the camp, which everyone thoroughly enjoyed.
Body armour being 10 kilos for those that don't know, but it's as soon as you're doing a couple of burpees in that, you start to feel it pretty badly.
And one lap of camp is 2.5 kilometres, so yeah, it was pretty tough, as you can imagine.
How's your training regime going, Andy?
Yeah, it's going well. I think I need to do a bit more running, but other than that, yeah, I'm pretty happy.
I've seen you doing some circuits in the gym.
Yeah, it seems to be a lot of what I've been doing at the moment. Trying to do a lot of strength, a lot of circuits, but yeah.
It's quite a challenge getting out for a run, especially during the summer in Kosovo, because it's been so hot. So myself, I've tended to have to get up earlier in the morning or go quite late at night to go running. So yeah, it is quite hard to keep on top of that. But then there's always the option of getting into the gym, which is air conditioned, and we've got a good selection of gyms on camp, so that's really good.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. And when it was sort of August, July time, if you wanted to run outside, you were really having to wait until it got dark before you could get out and run. Otherwise, severe risk of heat injury with the temperatures that we were facing. weirdest thing that's happened to us so far. That's a tricky one. I think you've got your fun midnight wake up call.
Yeah. No, I just luckily one of the other guys opened their door to see what the commotion was about, and because a couple of guys came over to help me put my door back on at 2 a.m. So I didn't think anyone would believe me about that. But, yeah.
I think one for me is we've got a very strict isolation policy in terms of following COVID requirements. Everything's done very rigidly and by the book. So unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, I found myself having to be in isolation, not because I got COVID, but because I was in contact with someone who did. And someone else on my team was also in isolation at the same time as me. And he decided that isolation was the perfect time to try and sort out some of his personal grooming, and thought that his eyebrows were looking a bit bushy. So he decided to go use his beard trimmer to have a go at thinning out his eyebrows, and ended up pretty much shaving both of them off. So he went around for the next couple of days looking much more surprised than I think he intended to be. And this was at the point where part of the isolation involves a test and release part of the isolation phase, similar to the UK. And this was prior to we having our test and release, so we could have been at a point where he was out in general public with no eyebrows at a very early stage. To try and resolve the situation, he decided to use field mascara or cam cream, but that just ended up making him look up and rather ridiculous. I won't name him. I feel a bit sorry for him. Well, that's probably the weirdest thing I've seen. Without any anecdotes from being out on the ground?
No, not at all. Can't top that.
I think not necessarily the weirdest thing, but one of the nicest things about being here is the UK's got a fantastic reputation from our involvement in Kosovo back in the late 90s. So it means when you're out on the ground and civilians see you, get loads of people coming up to you wanting to kind of shake your hand, have photos with you, even to the extent where people will buy you a cup of coffee when you're out. I don't know what kind of things you guys are seeing when you're out on the ground in relation to that.
I've had, I'm not gonna lie, I've had some ice cream bought for me quite a few times.
Oh, that's nice. Very, very appreciative people. But it goes to show that do a good deed in the past, and you'll reap the rewards from that for years to come, decades to come even. That's 20 years ago. Good one for you, Andy. What would be your best advice for someone thinking about joining the military?
I don't know, just keep an open mind, because you might have an idea of why you're joining the army and what you want to do with it, but that might not necessarily mean you're going to end up doing that. I never expected to be on this kind of operational tour, so this isn't exactly what I had in mind when I joined, but to have the opportunity to come out and do it, it's something you need to keep an open mind for, and I think it's a good thing to tell younger people.
Charlie, how's being out here sort of matched up to what you thought you would be doing when you first joined the army?
I didn't think I'd be in a place like this, Kosovo. I never even heard of Kosovo before I joined the army. So it's amazing. I got loads of opportunities. I mean, when I joined the army for a reason, to travel the world, and I have done. So
That's excellent.
It's been good.
Similar for me. I remember, I think back when I was really young, seeing on the news and hearing about Kosovo, but never really understanding the place, or thinking in 100 years that I'd be in Kosovo as well. I think this kind of throws up all the sort of weird and wonderful deployments that you can get through the army. It's been a really interesting place to be in, and a great experience. We're at the 5-month point now, so there's been a lot of memorable moments. One, being out on the ground every day and interacting with people's been fantastic, but I had the fortunate experience to do a sort of medical serial with the Croatian Air Force and the American Air Force, and go up into sort of a mountainous part of Kosovo. And for someone who's not normally in that kind of role, being able to call in a Croatian helicopter to land on a Kosovan mountain, that was something when I first joined I would never have thought I'd be doing. So that was a pretty memorable moment. Anything especially memorable for you, Charlie?
I quite liked when we went hill walking when we organised that trip. So we done one of the tallest mountains here in Kosovo, and took us like 6 hours. The boy who was leading it got us a wee bit lost. It would have took more time to get up to the top. So we just turned around, went back down. But the route he picked was something different. It was like going through the jungle almost.
Yeah, I think some of the Kosovan maps and hiking maps haven't been updated since Yugoslav times. So getting out there, you literally do feel like a bit of an adventurer. The paths aren't always where they say they're going to be. For you, Andy, most memorable moment?
I don't know. I'm still haunted by the door situation. But no, I'd probably say it's just meeting a lot of the people out here and just actually experiencing of a culture for once. Like I have been abroad and that kind of thing, but I've never really spent enough time in one place to actually absorb some of the cultures. So I think that's been interesting.
Yeah, you never really truly experience a country until you're there for 6 months or so, as they say. Chris, most memorable moment for you this summer?
I think similar to you guys, but one other thing was getting a chance to go on R&R. So I was lucky enough to get over to Albania, which is a part of the world I never thought I'd go to or ever considered going on holiday to, but it was amazing. Stunning beaches, people really friendly. So yeah, it's certainly something I'll remember.
Yeah, it's been good. How are you guys dealing with sort of being away from families and stuff? Any good methods for not missing home, things like that?
No, it's been a welcome break, to be honest.
I mean, I prepared. I knew I was going away for 6 months. They were lucky enough. Everyone got R&R, so it was 2 weeks, which we never thought we'd got due to COVID. But luckily we got it. So I spent 2 weeks with the missus in Spain, so that was good. I didn't think I'd get it, so yeah. Mentally prepared for the 6 months, so yeah.
No, that's good. I think with any deployment, you're always going to miss family and things back home. But one of the best parts is you have a good routine that kind of keeps you very busy, keeps you active. You're never short of things to do and keeping your mind busy as well. So that always helps.
Yeah, so I'm not fussed about being away from home, to be honest. You know, I didn't join the army to, go home every weekend, so I'm pretty happy, pretty content. Try to bounce from the next overseas thing to the air. It's just a bit more exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's good.
And there's always plenty of time each day to FaceTime friends and family back home, so that's always good.
That's true, yeah. We have the luxury of having a very, very good internet connection in the rooms, so it always helps with keeping in touch with family. For me, this is my first deployment, so I didn't really know what I was going to expect at the start of it, but I found the kind of the routine and particularly the being able to be in Kosovo, which is a very permissive environment. It's been a really, really great experience. You guys been anywhere before, or first tour?
So this is my first operational deployment, but I've done exercises in like America, the Falkland Islands, and coming out here I was quite nervous. Being my first operational tour and being one of the more junior ranks here, I was very nervous. But no, it's been a good opportunity. So.
Yeah, first tour for me as well, and just to have the opportunity to just chuck yourself and into a culture and a new country and completely immerse yourself in it. It's just been fantastic.
We touched a bit on the kind of compound and camp and what the facilities are, but in terms of the like living situation and rooms, how do you guys feel it compares to life at home?
Nothing compares to home, does it?
No, true.
Double bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rooms are fairly basic. It feels a bit like you're in a
ISO container. or
yeah,
something
like a shipping container, just with a bed, cupboard, and a desk in it. But, you know, it's a roof over your head and it's shelter. could be worse.
No, they're fairly kitted out, to be fair. They've got like air conditioning, you've obviously got electricity, stuff like
Radiator
that. So, yeah,
as well.
radiator. You've got 2 windows either side, so yeah.
And you got the space to yourself. I think previous rotations have had to share the ISO containers, so it's nice having your own personal space.
It's always nice to be able to have a bit of downtime to yourself at the end of the day. That always helps you relax.
Yep.
Any nice things that you've been able to kit out your room with, Andy?
So I took over from one of the other lads that was out here, and he had a big, basically a big white piece of paper pop on his wall for the projector they brought with him. So he was kind enough to leave me that, and I've got my laptop and a couple of other devices hooked up to it. So yeah, I know how to keep myself busy in my spare time. So
Good. Sounds very cushy.
it very much is.
I was fortunate enough to take over the room from the previous Sergeant Major. So I've got a huge picture of Field Marshal Montgomery and another one of the Queen up, which is a nice way to start each morning. And lastly, for you guys, it's one that everyone's got a different answer for, but why did you join the military?
For me, just stereotypical answer really, but it was something I kind of thought about for many years. It was just that itch that I wanted to scratch, and I just thought, go for it really.
Yeah, for me it's very similar. I always said to myself I was going to do it. At the age of 16 I got a job, and I just kept on working, and one day I just said to myself, I need to join the army. I'm never going to do it, so I just done it.
The regiment that I'm in, my father was in it, and so was my grandfather. Never really had that much of an interest in military when I was younger, but I went along because he'd recommended it to me, and ever since then, absolutely loved being involved, and loved the kind of routine of being out here, and the chance to see new places and go to parts of the world that civilians wouldn't go to. Is I think that's a particularly special part.
So myself, I come from quite a ex-military kind of family. My brother's in the military with me, so it was kind of a no-brainer for me to eventually join up. It's a good way of life as well. So it's a good way to keep fit and healthy, and you can get other things through the army. So why not take advantage of that as best I can.
Yeah, very sensible. So that's the end of the podcast. I've been Henry.
Charlie.
Chris.
Andy.
And thanks for stopping by.